Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Fairuadnan bin Abi Malik. My metric number is 278918. I will be explaining about organization background of the victim and root of the problem for the case discussed. The organization background for this case is primary school named Sekolah Kebangsaan Seri Gombak 1. The school formerly known as National Third Primary School of English. It has been established on January 4, 1966. The same as other schools, this school also directly supervised by the government and is managed by the Malaysian Ministry of Education. This organization, nature of business is education. Next, I will explain about root of the problem for this case. The teacher, Cikgu Fadli bin Muhammad Saleh, is under threat of discipline for speaking up and expressing his concern about his mathematics students, who have been burdened by the complicated syllabus that limit them from mastering the subject. He has previously addressed his concern to Malaysia's Education Minister through the appropriate channels. However, he did not get any response. He began expressing his frustration on social media site, which is Facebook. Unfortunately, he has been charged with misconduct and will be subject to disciplinary action.
So I will continue the presentation, which is about the industrial relation issue faced by the organizations. As we know, this issue start when Muhammad Fadli Saleh, the mathematics teacher at Sekolah Kebangsaan Gombak 1, had speak out few issue about the weakness within the country education system. He claimed that the math syllabus was too advanced for primary school students, and there were too many students in one class. The student learned too many subjects, and heavy school bag were threatening the development of young students. He claimed that he had reached out to the Education Ministry through all the proper channel, but received no response before he decided to airing on the social media. This action resulted him receiving a letter dated September 22 from the chairman of the Education Service Disciplinary Board Support Group number 1 of the Education Ministry, which is Datuk Yusran Shah Muhammad Yusof. Ministry of Education stated that Muhammad Fadli Saleh was facing disciplinary actions for violating Regulation 19 Clause 1 Clause C of the Public Officer Regulations Conduct and Discipline 1993, which state that a public officer may not, through verbal or written means, provide any review on the weaknesses of any policy, plan and decision of the governments. So Muhammad Fadli, for his part, need to make a written representation for himself within 21 days, with reasoning and evidence for his release from the accusation, which failing to do so, he assumed that he will be assumed as not wishing to defend himself. Muhammad Fadli also argued that the action taken against him was sexist and unnecessary, because his purpose was trying to improve the education experience of students and protect their rights.
Good day, Doctor. My name is Nandini Anantan. My metric number 278711. I want to continue a group presentation, which is implications of Malaysian industrial relations. For the national level, dismissal affect the reputation of the nations. It is because we can see from the whistleblower policy. In this case, the whistleblower, teacher Mr. Muhammad Fadli, come forward and share his knowledge on the mathematics syllabus that he thinks is difficult for the staff to teach and cover all the syllabus on the subject of mathematics. After the teacher voice out, it's lead to dismissal. It can adapt to unethical behavior of employees in the organizations. So, it's affect the reputations of our nation. Next impact is dismissal can lead to unemployment. Unemployment also occurs in a country and will cause economic unemployment rates and also high rates of poverty in our nations. In this case, Mr. Fadli highlighted the problems. Finally, it treated with a dismissal or demotions. So, this kind of dismissal lead to increased unemployment rates in our nation.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Nur Shafiqah. My metric number 27803 will continue with the industrial level. First is dismissal can lead to lack of improvement. Organizations that encourage the voice of their employees will improve the company, whether it's in facilitating a major transition, reducing turnover, or improving a company communication. Feedback gives people an opportunity to look at themselves in a different light. It can particularly be insightful for leaders to improve the lacking. In this case, the idea that Mr. Muhammad Fazli gave was not accepted by the organization. It led to lack of improvement. If the company consider the input, it will likely be able to speed up the study qualification and lower the burden. Next is dismissal can lead to lack of professional in the future. The organization put pressure on the employees by giving them unreasonable punishment when they have done something wrong. This could lead to lack of professional employees in the future. Reasonable punishments such as demoting an employee cannot motivate the employee to improve their working ethic. In this case, when Muhammad Fazli was sent a letter of dismissal, when he voiced out the concern toward the student, this can affect the whole teaching industry where educators will scared to raise the concern about the student. This also can lead to unprofessional educators that will not be able to qualify students in the future.
Okay, so I will be explaining about the impacts on unfair dismissal in the organizational level. Okay, as we all know, dismissal can lead a lot of to negative impact, especially when it comes to the organizational level. And one of the impacts in organization level is dismissal can lead to damaging a reputation. And when it comes to deciding an action, an organization must decide it where their action could bring a positive or negative impact, because all of their actions are going to be viewed by publicly. Okay, as we are going to talk about the case of Cikgu Fadli, the organization decided to send out a letter of dismissal or demotion of Cikgu Fadli when raised a concern about the unsystematic syllabus of the school that made children and students have to carry heavy school bags. Because of this concern, the organization decided to take actions against Cikgu Fadli, whereby they mentioned that Cikgu Fadli had disobeyed the rules of civil servant regulations. This surely will damage the reputation of the organization, because all Cikgu Fadli was trying to do is trying to help the students. The public understands the concept of Cikgu Fadli trying to help the students, but they do not understand that why is the organization sending a letter to dismiss Cikgu Fadli without any good reason. Actually, will damage the reputation of the organization when the employees are trying to fight for justice. Perception of other people will leave a negative view on the organization itself. They believe that Encik Muhammad Fadli was trying just to help the students in raising awareness due to the incompetent syllabus. The next impact on organization level is that the dismissal can also lead to lack of competency. We all know if an organization wants to develop themselves to become a better version of themselves, they must accept change. The organization is not dynamic enough to accept changes because they do not accept criticism by others. According to this case, we can see that organization could not accept the criticism by Cikgu Muhammad Fadli, even though the concept is trying to help the organization to become a better version of themselves. As a result, even though many employees have already recognized a lot of problems or unethical situation that has happened in the organization, but no one dares to speak out, they will be receive a lot of punishment due to them standing up for what they believe that is wrong. And this is where the dysfunctional system is going to occur and continue for the rest of the organization lives. It's how the organization is not competent enough to accept changes in the organization itself.
From what we have discussed previously, I can conclude several things from the case study. Firstly, in order to be competent and innovative, employees should be given a chance to voice out their dissatisfaction and thoughts. Secondly, we believe that feedbacks and review are necessary in making a better change towards the industry. Moreover, dismissal is not the only solution in a few cases of misconduct. This is because it can tarnish the good image of employer and employee. Thus, individual must not done anything that might damage the organization reputation. Lastly, I firmly agree that as a democratic country, government must practice and encourage the act of democracy such as the freedom of speech.